I have to shift gears completely, bring it back to the United States, back to Louisiana in particular, to give you another little slice of life for the weekend. I'm so sorry. I mean, I really am. I'm very sorry for what I talk about on this podcast. But in Louisiana, lawmakers have advanced a bill in the Louisiana legislature that would abolish abortion in the state, grant constitutional rights to all, they call it unborn children, from the moment of fertilization. Now, how they're going to know when a determined sperm penetrates the wall of a female egg deep in the uterus, who knows? But at the moment of fertilization, that thing has constitutional rights. And the bill would also classify abortion as a homicide. Murder one. Now, that was decided on Wednesday this week, and it came 2 days after that leaked draft report showing the Supreme Court was going to overturn, I should say, the Roe v. Wade decision. This Louisiana bill is one of a bunch of proposals by fascist Christians in these states that are controlled by the fascist Christians to restrict access to abortion. And it's a sign, obviously, that the fascist Christians are feeling very emboldened by the leaked draft opinion. And the restrictions that are geared to go into law in Louisiana go much further, obviously, than the so-called trigger laws. Homicide. Murder one. In South Dakota, the fascist Christian governor there, Kristi Noem, said this week that she would call for a special legislative session when Roe is overturned to limit or eliminate abortion to the greatest extent possible. Nebraska, Indiana, fascist Christian lawmakers there also said their states are going to convene special sessions to consider the same thing. Back to Louisiana, there's a state representative there, a white, male, fascist Christian named Danny McCormick. He introduced the Abolition of Abortion Act in March. And he said that the impending ruling from the Supreme Court shouldn't delay the state's efforts to ban abortion, period. He said, quote, "We cannot wait on the Supreme Court," end quote. Now, the legislation I'm talking about in Louisiana was approved by a committee, or in a committee vote, 7-2, and it now moves to the state's full House of Representatives for consideration. And the bill amends the state's existing homicide law and says its purpose is to, quote, "ensure the right to life and equal protection of the laws to all unborn children from the moment of fertilization by protecting them by the same laws protecting other human beings," end quote. That's fucking crazy. I mean, you know it as well as I do. I would be willing to jump in front of an oncoming truck to save the life of a kid, a toddler, a baby, a child. But an egg that's just been fertilized? What? And it looks like this bill in Louisiana, if it goes into law, will permit the prosecution of anyone who has an abortion or performs an abortion on murder charges. L.A. Schilling, a lawyer in Louisiana, she represents reproductive health care providers. She said during Wednesday's committee hearing, quote, "What this bill does is to specifically amend the crime of homicide and the crime of criminal battery to enable the state to charge people, including the pregnant person, the pregnant mother, at any stage of gestation." End quote. Now, the text of the bill says the state of Louisiana should enforce the law, quote, "without regard to the opinions and judgments of the Supreme Court of the United States on abortion," end quote. And Attorney Schilling, L.A. Schilling, said that, if it passes, would completely annihilate the Supreme Court's overriding authority on everything. And the director of Louisiana ACLU, Chris Kaiser, said the measure would criminalize in vitro fertilization and various forms of birth control by defining a fertilized egg before implantation as a person. And in a statement yesterday, Chris Kaiser called the bill, quote, "barbaric." So someone who goes to a fertility clinic donates one of her eggs. It is fertilized in vitro, in glass, with the sperm of a donor, and then it doesn't take the way, well, it's implanted in the woman, but then it passes off. That then is considered murder. Murder. Because the egg had been fertilized with the sperm, and for whatever reason, maybe in the process of implantation, the egg had to be destroyed. Murder. Good God. And what are these people doing who are writing these laws to prevent another Mariupol or Malloy or Auschwitz? Yeah. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcasts. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.